Yes, people, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all South India student. How are you? Hope so you are good. I am also good. Good evening to all of you. Just tell me. In the yesterday's lecture, I have given you some question for the homework purpose. That was from topic set up and carry forward. So Nehal, that question number was from set up and carry forward. There was some question in the homework, I think question number 4 to question number 10. Any doubt in any question? Set up and carry forward topic. There were certain questions were in homework. Yeah, 4 to 10. 4 to 10 or 4 to 9. So you did that question or not? Just tell me first. You did all the question or not? Or sir, no sir, we have not completed yet. You have to do some homework, yeah, little bit homework. Only for 30 minutes homework I have given you. So you have to do at least that homework. You did that homework? Question number 10 is a doubt. Today we will consider 10. Question number 10 we will consider today, okay? But from question number 4 to question number 9, any doubt? Question number 4 to question number 9, any doubt? Question number 9, there was a profit from tea business. If it was growing and manufacturing, then you know that 40% is business income and 60% is agriculture income. Yes. So hope so you have completed all the question, 4 to 9 at least. 10 you have doubt. Today we will discuss about the 10. 9 was related to the owning and maintaining camel. So here, yesterday we have discussed owning and maintaining horses, race horses. If that is the loss, then it can be carried forward for the 4 assessment here. So what about this type of a loss? So here guys, question number 10 was doubt. We'll discuss today, okay? Done. Oh, everyone did it. Very nice. If you are recorded student and if you not did the homework till now, please pause the lecture, just do the homework, and after that just watch the lecture, okay? So guys, in the yesterday's lecture, we were discussing about the set up and carry forward of the losses. And in the set up and carry forward of the losses, we have completed whatever given till the point number 6. Now, in the notes, you have any doubt? I think in the first note, there is no doubt that if income is exempt, then obviously losses does not have the tax treatment. Second is loss from the lottery or card game races, etc. are not eligible for set up. Means if there is a losses from casual income, means if there is a loss from the winning or card game, then obviously that is not allowed to be set up and carry forward. As well as guys, against the lottery income or crossword income or income on the TV show, means against this type of income you cannot set up any other losses. Suppose I am having the winning income, lottery income, then again lottery income, any other losses are not allowed to set up. Any other losses, means for an example, I am having house property loss or I am having the PGBP loss. So against lottery income, I cannot set up any losses. Okay, that is taxable at flat 30% rate. Now brought forward losses from business can be set up even if the such business is not continued. Now order of set up of losses, first you will set up the current year depreciation, obviously suppose if there is a business income, then again business income, first you will set up the current year depreciation. Second, you will set up the brought forward losses from business and profession. Third, you will set up the unabsorbed depreciation. Now point number 5 says that if there is an income under one head and eligible loss under another head, such losses shall be first set up against the income before set up and carry forward. Set up and carry forward of losses before set up and carry forward of losses. Here it should be carry forward of losses. Set up and carry forward of losses. It means, what is the meaning of that? I can take an example. Suppose for an example guys, in current year I am having the PGBP income of the 5 lakh. Suppose I am having PGBP income of 5 lakh, but I am having the house property loss of the 2 lakh. This both are from current year. Now in the last year there is a brought forward business loss is there. Brought forward business loss is there, and suppose that business loss is 9 lakh. Now question is that brought forward business loss, guys, this business losses can be set off only against business income. Brought forward business loss, this brought forward business loss can be set off only against business income. Now, sir, in the current year, there is a PGBP income of 5 lakh and house property losses of 2 lakh. So what we should do in the current year? First, we should set up this 2 lakh house property losses, or this 2 lakh house property losses will carry forward and set up this 9 lakh, out of 9 lakh, 5 lakh losses against the PGBP. So what we should have to do first? So right, first you have to do the current year calculation. Current year means that current year losses you have to adjust against this 5 lakh. So what you will do, that PGBP income, again PGBP income, house property losses you will set up. Remaining PGBP income is 3 lakh, and out of 9 lakh only 3 lakh losses will be set up. You cannot do that, okay, like current year house property losses will be carry forward and brought forward losses, business losses you will set up first. You will not do that. Means always in the current year, first you have to adjust about the current year situation. Whatever the current year situation, that you have to adjust. Means current year losses, if under interhead and all, you have to do that. After that, if there is any income, then brought forward losses will be set off. After that, guys, suppose your income is taxable under section 115 BBE, that is from section 68 to 69D, that is cash, credit and all, undisclosed income in India. Then guys, this income, any losses is not allowed to be set up. Any losses is not allowed to be set up. Done. Now we will discuss the section 79. Now what is the section 79? Try to understand. Huh? So guys, section 79. What section 79 says? Try to understand. So here we are going to discuss the section 79. Section 79. What the section says? Pay attention. Guys, first point, this section 79 is applicable in case of the closely held company. Closely held company means you can say that the private limited company. So this particular section is applicable in case of the private limited company means you can say closely held company. So first point, this section is applicable only in case of the closely held company. Closely held company means you can just remember by way of the unlisted company. This section is applicable for unlisted company. Now what this section says? This section says that suppose for an example, there is a loss incurred in any year. For an example, in the previous year 21-22, there is a loss under the head PGBP or under any other head. There is a loss. Guys, suppose there is a 5 crore rupees loss, and in current year there is a income. Previous year 23-24, in the current year there is a income, and in current year suppose there is an income of the 7 crore rupees. In current year there is an income of 7 crore rupees, and in the previous year 21-22 there was a losses of PGBP of 5 crore, and in the current year 23-24 there is an income of the 7 crore. Lawmaker says that in case of closely held company, if in any year losses were incurred, so guys, in that year whoever the shareholder as on 31st March 2022, means on the last day of the year, whoever were the shareholder on the last day in the year in which that losses are set up, that is in the year 31st March 2024, that is the last day, on both the date, at least 51% equity share should be held by the same person. At least 51% equity share should be held by the same person, then only it is allowed to set up the losses. Otherwise, that losses will not be allowed to be set up. So Meghna, this section says that 79, otherwise what happens? Suppose for an example, there is a one loss-making company, and loss-making company is having the huge losses. What that company will do? That company will just like, suppose our company is a we are earning income. For an example, our company is a profit-making. So what we will do? Suppose if there is a loss-making company, so what we will do? That loss-making company shareholder will change, and any profit-making business they will start, and again that profit they will like set off all the huge losses and all. So what they have mentioned that in case of the closely held company, in any year losses are incurred in that year last date, whoever was the shareholder in the year in which that income is earned, on that year last day, whoever is the shareholder, at least 51% shareholder should remain same, then only that losses can be set off. Otherwise that losses are going to be lapse. Otherwise that losses are going to be lapse. Means in simple word, like loss incurred in the year, last day of that year, and guys income in any year, last day of that year, like 51% shareholder should remain same. Otherwise that losses will not be allowed to be set off, means it is going to be lapse. So in simple word, for an example, on 31st March 2022, suppose guys there were a 4 shareholder A, B, C and D, and 25%, 25%, 25% and 25%. Suppose A, B, C, D, there were 4 shareholder, equity shareholder, and shareholding were 25, 25, 25. Now what happened? In this year, on the last day, in the year in which that losses is set off, in that year, suppose there is a shareholder A, B, C, and there is a one new shareholder is K. D is not there, K is there. And their shareholding is, guys, here suppose A is having 20% shareholding, B is having suppose 20% shareholding, and C is having also 20% shareholding, and guys K is having the 40% shareholding. So here question is that in current year that losses can be set off or not. So lawmaker says that you have to check that is 51% equity share are held by the same person or not. Is 51% equity share are held by the same person or not? If it is held by the same person, then that losses can be set off. Otherwise that losses will not be allowed to be set off. So what I am saying that here, all people pay attention what happened here in this particular case. Guys, A, B and C, these are the common shareholder. And guys, these 3 are held 75% here. And guys, here these 3 are held 60%. So in simple word, can I say that on the both the date, at least 51% share are held by the same person. So losses can be set off and carry forward in the current year. Losses are allowed to be set off and carry forward in the current year because at least 51% share are held by the same person. Now guys, suppose for an example, here instead of this 20%, suppose C is having only 5% and K is having the 55%. So here can I say that ABC now holding only 45%. So here they are holding only 45%, means that is the less than 51%. 51% shareholding are not by the same person. So in this particular case, losses are going to be lapse. In this year, that losses are not allowed to be set off. It is going to be lapse. So in simple word, what I am saying that in case of any closely held company, guys, in case of any closely held company, in the year in which losses are incurred, in that year and in the year in which there is a profit, that year last date, at least 51% shareholder should be same, means 51% equity shareholder should be same, then only that losses can be set off. Otherwise that losses are not allowed to be set off. You got my point or not? Yes. Now one more point, guys. In case of the startup company, now what is the meaning of a startup? That we will discuss in the deduction topic. Mostly tomorrow or day after tomorrow we'll consider the deduction topic. So in deduction topic, I will teach you about the startup and all. Guys, in case of the startup topic, this 51% condition is not applicable. Means in case of the startup, because if you remember, in case of a startup, what happened? Obviously, there will be a funding round, and in funding round, they have to give the equity to the other. So guys, in case of the startup, this 51% condition is not applicable. But in case of a startup, this condition is applicable that whoever was the shareholder of that company, they should continue to be shareholder. They should continue to be shareholder. There is no condition of 51%, but they should be the shareholder of that company. They should be the shareholder of that company. So in case of the startup company, this 51% restriction is not applicable, but there is a restriction that they should be the shareholder of that particular company. You got my point or not? Yes. So all people pay attention what is written in your book. So just focus here, section 79. Carry forward and set off of losses in case of certain companies. Carry forward and set off of losses in case of certain companies. What this section says. Okay, where there is a change in shareholding has taken place during the previous year in case of the closely held company. Closely held company means, just remember, unlisted company. No loss incurred in any year prior to the previous year shall be carried forward and set off against the income of previous year unless on the last day of the previous year at least 51% equity share were held by the person who held at least 51% equity share on the last day of the year or years in which the loss was incurred. Now guys, one proviso is given, provided that Even if the above condition is not satisfied in case of eligible startup, that 51% condition is not there. The losses incurred in any year prior to the previous year shall be allowed to be carried forward and set off against the income of the previous year if all the equity shareholder of such company who held the share on the last day of the year or year in which loss was incurred continue to hold this share on the last day of the such previous year, and such losses has been incurred during the period of the 10 years from the year in which such company is incorporated. So guys, in particular, in case of the startup, this 51% conditions are not applicable, but guys, they should continue to be a shareholder of the company. Means that whoever was the shareholder in the year in which losses were incurred on the last day, they should be a shareholder of the company. And guys, that losses incurred in the first 10 years of the incorporation in case of the startup. Now here, one example is given. Just check the example. This example says that losses incurred by BB Private Limited in the previous year 22-23 and earn income in the previous year 23-24. Equity shareholding on 31st March 2023 in the year in which losses incurred, and in this year that losses are set off. Mr. A's shareholding was 34%, Mr. B 33%, Mr. C 33%. Now guys, what happened here? On 31st March 2024, A is holding 35%, B is holding 33%. So here can I say that, and there is a new shareholder, D is holding 32%. So guys, on this date, the shareholder, these are the common shareholder. So you can say that the A and B both are the common shareholder. Now guys, here they are holding the 67% and here they are holding the 68%. So can I say that 51% equity share are held by the same person? So losses can be set off in the current year, no issue at all. So here losses of the previous year 22-23 can be set off against the income of previous year 23-24 because 51% or more equity share are held by the same person on 31st March 2023 and 31st March 2024. Now there is an example number 2. Losses incurred by BB Private Limited in the previous year 22-23. Suppose in current year, last year there was losses and income in the current year. Now in the last year, equity shareholder A and B and C were the equity shareholder, and 34%, 33% and 33%. Now in this year, A is holding only 10%, B is holding 10%, C is holding 5% and 75% is held by the D. So in this case, can I say that here they are holding the 100% and guys, here they are holding only 25%. So 51% condition is not applicable. So this year losses are not allowed to be set off against this year. But guys, if it is an eligible startup, then losses can be set off because here Mr. A, B and C were shareholder on this date as well as they are shareholder on this date. And this losses are incurred in the first 10 year of the incorporation, then this losses can be set off in this year. You got my point or not? Yes. So pay attention. Losses of previous year 22-23 cannot be set off against income of previous year 23-24 because 51% or more equity share not held by the same person on 31st March 2023 and 31st March 2024. However, if BB Private Limited is an eligible startup as per section 80 IAC, then losses of previous year 22-23 can be set off because all the shareholder on 31st March 2023 continue as the shareholder on 31st March 2024. Assume that losses incurred in the first 10 year of the incorporation. Done. Now guys, this section is not applicable in the 5 cases. This section is basically not applicable in the 5 cases. Means there is no need to check that change in shareholding, then also it's okay, no problem. Losses can be set up and carry forward in the 5 cases. So following changes in shareholding shall not be considered a change in shareholding in the 5 cases. First, where the changes take place in consequent upon the death of the shareholder. Suppose if there is a death of the shareholder. So in case of the death of the shareholder, guys, that will not be treated as change. So in case of death of shareholder, it is okay. Now second is where the change take place by way of the gift of shares to any relative of the shareholder. Suppose if I have gifted my share to my wife or any of my relative, then it is okay, no problem at all. Now third point is any change in shareholding of Indian company which is a subsidiary of foreign company as a result of amalgamation or demerger of foreign company, subject to the condition that 51% shareholder of amalgamating or demerged foreign company continue to be the shareholder of the amalgamated or resulting foreign company. Now what is the meaning of that? I can take an example. Okay guys, suppose for an example, there is a one company, name is BB Private Limited. Suppose in India, there is a one company, that company name is a BB Private Limited. In India, this is one company. Now guys, our 60% share are held by one foreign company, name is suppose Sunny Limited, and 60% are share held by the Sunny Limited. But guys, there is a amalgamation of Sunny Limited with one company, that name is a Kim Limited, and that is also a foreign company. So suppose if there is a amalgamation of foreign company, then guys, earlier our shareholder, BB Private Limited shareholder was Sunny Limited, but now this share will be transferred to Kim Limited under amalgamation, because this company is going to amalgamate with this company. Or suppose this company, there is a demerger, then guys, our share now will be held by the Kim Limited. So our now 60% shareholder held by the Kim Limited. So here there is a change in shareholding. Is losses are allowed to be set up or not? Answer is yes. But condition is that at least 75% shareholder of Sunny Limited is going to be shareholder of the Kim Limited. Means at least 75% equity shareholder, at least 75% equity shareholder of the Sunny Limited will become the shareholder of the Kim Limited. Then guys, this change will not be treated as a change, and they can set up and carry forward the losses. After that, there is a point number 4. Point number 4 says that where a change take place in the previous year as a result of resolution plan approved under the IBC 2016. So under IBC Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, any resolution plan is approved, or due to the resolution plan approved by the NCLT under section 241 or 242 of the Companies Act 2013, then guys, it will not be treated as a change. It will not be treated as a change. So what they are saying here, where change take place in the previous year due to the resolution plan approved under IBC 2016, or due to the resolution plan approved by the NCLT in section 241, 242. Guys, there was one company name is a Ruchi Soya. Like NCLT plan, like a resolution plan is passed by the NCLT, and Ruchi Soya was taken over by the Patanjali. Now Patanjali earlier was not a shareholder of that company, but now Patanjali is shareholder. So can Patanjali set up carry forward losses or not? Answer is yes. So if any resolution plan is approved under the IBC 2016 or by the NCLT under section 241, 242 of the Companies Act 2013, then guys, it will be allowed to be set up and carry forward of the losses. Means it will not be treated as a change in the shareholding. Now next part. To an erstwhile public sector company. Erstwhile public sector company means that public sector, earlier it was public sector company, but now it is not a public sector company. That is called as erstwhile public sector company. Means earlier it was public sector company, but now there is no public sector company. Suppose what happened, there was a public sector company, but subject to the condition that ultimate holding company of such company immediately after completion of the strategic disinvestment. Guys, what is the meaning of strategic disinvestment? You know that when government sold their shareholding, like you know that earlier that company name was the Air India Limited. Now Air India Limited was unlisted company, closely held company that was owned by the government. Now earlier shareholder was government, but you know that now shareholder is a Tata Group. Now shareholder is a Tata Group. So obviously now shareholder is Tata Group. Question is Tata Group is allowed to set up and carry forward the losses of the Air India or not? Answer is yes, they are allowed to be set up and carry forward the losses. So here what they are saying, suppose erstwhile public sector company means earlier it was a public sector company, but subject to the condition that ultimate holding company of such company immediately after the completion of strategic disinvestment continue to hold directly or through its subsidiary or subsidiaries at least 51% voting power of such company in aggregate. It means guys, suppose Air India is sold to the Tata Group, then Tata Group should at least hold the 51% shareholding. Now after exactly strategic disinvestment, now Tata Group is holding the Air India. So Tata Group should hold at least 51% shareholding in the year in which that losses are being set up. Then only that losses are allowed to be set up. But suppose for an example, Tata Group first acquired the Air India, and after 1 year, suppose Tata Group sold to the Reliance. So here Tata Group is not holding that company's 51% equity shareholding. So then obviously that Reliance will not be allowed to be set up the losses. So in simple word guys, earlier there was a public sector company. That public sector company ceased to be public sector company due to the strategic disinvestment. Government sold their holding. So in this particular case, at least 51% of the voting power of that company should be held by the Tata Group. Then Tata Group can set up the losses. It will not be treated as a change in shareholding. Now, if this condition not complied in any previous year, suppose Tata Group sold this Air India to the Reliance, then after the completion of strategic disinvestment, the provision of section 79 shall apply for such previous year and subsequent previous year. So suppose if it is sold to the Reliance, then now Reliance is shareholder, then Reliance cannot set up and carry forward that losses of the Air India. But Air India losses can be set off by the Tata Group. But suppose Tata Group is not holding now 51%, then if they sold to the Reliance, then the Reliance will not be able to set up and carry forward the losses of the Air India. You got my point or not? Yes. Now guys, we will do one or two more section, and after that directly we will move to some questions, pending question. Guys, there is a one section 79A. 79A says that no setup of the losses consequent to search, requisition or survey. Now guys, what happened? You know that suppose at your premises there is a search means raid, or there is a requisition, or there is a survey, but other than TDS TCS survey is very small survey. So suppose guys, during the search or during the requisition or during the survey, suppose they got some undisclosed income. In your case, they got some undisclosed income. Then guys, against that undisclosed income, you cannot set up any your brought forward losses, or you cannot set up your any of unabsorbed depreciation and all. Guys, one more point, under section 79, there was a restriction only for the losses. Only that restriction was for the losses of any head. But guys, there was no restriction of the unabsorbed depreciation. Unabsorbed depreciation can be set up, no issue at all. There was a restriction only for the losses, but there was no restriction for the unabsorbed depreciation. Done. Now here, what we are discussing here in section 79 is, section 79A says that suppose guys, during the survey or search, suppose some undisclosed income is found by the department, then against that income, you cannot claim any or brought forward losses or unabsorbed depreciation. You got my point or not? Yes. Otherwise, what will happen? Suppose at your place, some raid is conducted, and in the raid, they got the income of the 10 crore. Now you may say that this 10 crore, we have the brought forward losses, unabsorbed depreciation, please set up it now. Oh, that is not allowed. It is not allowed. Okay. So pay attention. Where consequent to the search under section 132 or requisition under section 132A or survey under section 133A, other than the TDS TCS survey, the total income in any previous year of assessee include any undisclosed income. If there is any undisclosed income, set up of any losses or unabsorbed depreciation not allowed against such undisclosed income. Now, what do you mean by undisclosed income? So here, undisclosed income means income of previous year represented by the money or bullion or other valuable article or any entry in the books of accounts or other document or transaction found during the search, requisition or survey. Means income of the previous year represented by money, means they got the money or bullion or other valuable article and things, or any entry in the books of accounts or any other document or transaction found during the search or requisition or survey which has not been recorded on or before the date of the search or requisition or survey in the books of accounts or other document maintained in the normal course relating to such previous year and not been disclosed to the CCIT or PCCIT or PCIT or CIT before the date of search or requisition or survey. Means guys, during the search, suppose they got some money, bullion, any other valuable articles or any entry in your books of accounts and which has been not been recorded in your books of accounts or not been disclosed to the income tax department, then guys, it will be treated as undisclosed income, and against that undisclosed income, any losses or unabsorbed depreciation not allowed to be set off. Now, next part. Income of the previous year represented by any entry. Suppose if there is any entry in respect of any expenses, means you claim any expenses entry recorded in the books of accounts or other document maintained in the normal course relating to the previous year which is found to be false. Means suppose during the search they are checking your books of accounts, they are checking your mobile phone and all, and they got that you booked some expenses and that is the false bill, and which would not have been found to be so had the search not been initiated or the survey has not been conducted or requisition has not been made. Suppose search or survey was not conducted, then it could not be found. It would have not been found by the income tax department. Then it will also be treated as your undisclosed income, and again that undisclosed income, any losses or any unabsorbed depreciation is not allowed to be set off. Now guys, always remember, whenever there is a losses of one person, is other person is allowed to be set up or carry forward that losses or not? Right answer is, guys, if losses of you have incurred the losses, your losses cannot be set up by me, or my losses cannot be allowed to be set up to you. But guys, in income tax, there are 4-5 exceptional cases where losses of the predecessor can be claimed by the successor. And this exception are, one is the amalgamation, second is the demerger, third is a succession. And here succession means either that proprietor to the company, partnership firm to the company, or a small company to the LLP. So if there is a like succession means proprietor to the company, partnership firm to the company, or a small company to the LLP. So that is called your succession. So in case of the succession, guys, in case of the amalgamation, in case of the demerger, losses of the predecessor are allowed to be carried forward to the successor. But guys, here in this particular case, only your business losses is allowed. Only your business losses is allowed. But in business losses also, speculative business losses not allowed. Means other than speculative business losses. And guys, unabsorbed depreciation is allowed to be set up and carry forward to the successor. So what I'm saying that if there is an amalgamation or demerger or succession means that three type of succession we have discussed in the capital gain. One is the like proprietor to the company, partnership firm to the company, small company to the LLP. In that three type of the succession, losses of the predecessor is allowed to be set up by the successor. But guys, only business losses is allowed and unabsorbed depreciation is allowed. Only business losses is allowed and unabsorbed depreciation is allowed, but other than speculative business losses not allowed to be set up by the successor. So here, what this table says, try to understand. Guys, if there is an amalgamation, then amalgamating company losses can be set up and carry forward by the amalgamated company, but here period will be the fresh 8-year period will be allowed. Here fresh 8-year period will be allowed to the new company. Means there is no remaining 8 year. Here fresh 8-year period is allowed to the new company. Fresh 8-year period is allowed to the new company. Second is if there is a demerger, like amalgamation example was the VI. Like suppose Vodafone was having some losses, Idea was having some losses. Now they made the one new company that is called VI. So VI can carry forward and set up losses of the Vodafone as well as the Idea, and there will be a fresh 8 years time limit for the business losses. Unabsorbed depreciation can be carried forward for the unlimited year. Now guys, in case of the demerged company, suppose if there is a demerger, like Reliance demerger took place, one segment of the Jio Financial Service, they have demerged and made it resulting company. So guys, in case of demerger, resulting company can set up and carry forward the losses, and they can set up and carry forward the losses for remaining 8 years period. Only for the remaining 8 years period, they can set up and carry forward the losses under demerger. And but question is that, suppose sir, if Reliance there is a demerger, then how Jio losses will be allocated? Means how we will know that this is the Jio losses? There was one question in the like one topic amalgamation demerger, and if you remember a little bit, there we have discussed that suppose if losses is directly attributable to the Jio, then it will be set up and carry forward by the Jio. But suppose if it is not directly attributable to the Jio, then guys we will bifurcate the loss on the basis of the net worth. Means how much asset value is transferred to the Jio. On that basis that losses will be bifurcated. That is given on the this demerger page. Here I have mentioned that in case of the demerger, guys, allowability of carry forward and setup of accumulated losses and unabsorbed depreciation by resulting company, where there has been demerger of the undertaking, then accumulated losses or unabsorbed depreciation directly relatable to the undertaking transfer, that is Jio, by the demerged company to the resulting company shall be allowed to be carried forward and set up in hands of the resulting company. Accumulated losses and unabsorbed depreciation is not directly relatable to the undertaking. The same will be apportionate between the demerged company and resulting company in the same proportion in which the value of asset have been transferred. So it is going to be accumulated losses and unabsorbed depreciation are not directly related, then in that particular case it will be apportionate between the demerged company and resulting company in the same proportion in which the value of asset have been transferred. You got my point or not? Yes. Now guys, here next part is related to conversion of the firm or proprietor into the company. So guys, here firm and proprietary concern loss will be allowed to be carried forward by the successor company, and here also fresh 8-year period. Now unlisted company to LLP means a small company to LLP, then unlisted company loss will be allowed to be set up and carried forward by the LLP, and here there will be a 8-year fresh period. Unabsorbed depreciation can be carried forward by amalgamated company, resulting company, successor company, LLP for the unlimited period. You got my point or not? Yes. Now guys, directly check the compiler. Directly check your compiler. Directly check your compiler. We'll do some question. First check the question number 2. First check the question number 2. First check the question number 2. So guys, question number 2. Question number 2. Check the question number 2. What the question number 2 says. Pay attention. ABC Limited was amalgamated with XYZ Limited on 1/4/2023. So there was a company called ABC Limited that was amalgamated with the XYZ Limited on 1/4/2023. All the condition of section 2(1)(b) were satisfied. Means all the condition were satisfied. Amalgamation, all condition. Here they have satisfied all the condition of the amalgamation. Now guys, ABC Limited has the following carry forward losses as asset till the assessment year 23-24. So till last year, that old company, amalgamating company, is having some losses. Now what are the losses? Speculative losses were 4 lakh. Hey guys, can I say that old company speculative business losses not allowed to be set up by the new company? That speculative business losses is not allowed to be set up and carry forward by the new company. Now unabsorbed depreciation was 18 lakh. It is allowed to be set up and carry forward by new company. Answer is yes. Unabsorbed expenditure of capital nature on the scientific research. Guys, you know that unabsorbed expenditure of the capital nature on the scientific research now, that is like a unabsorbed depreciation only. If you remember, then in the PGBP topic, under section 35 scientific research, I have given one note in the section 35 that whatever the unabsorbed expenditure of the capital nature on the scientific research, that will be treated like a unabsorbed depreciation only, and it can be carry forward and set up for the unlimited period. So this is also allowed to be set up and carry forward by the new company in the amalgamation, because it is like unabsorbed depreciation only. Now business losses is also allowed to be set up and carry forward by the new company. So other than this speculative loss, guys, unabsorbed depreciation and business losses is allowed to be set up and carry forward by the new company. Now what happened? XYZ Limited has computed the profit of 140 lakh. This new company profit is 140 lakh for the financial year 23-24 before setting off the eligible losses of the old company, but after providing depreciation at the rate 15% per annum on the 150 lakh. So they have calculated depreciation at the rate 15% on the 150 lakh being the consideration at which plant and machinery were transferred to the XYZ Limited. But written down value as per the income tax recorded in ABC Limited as on 31st March 2023 was 100 lakh. Guys, here what happened? You know that under amalgamation, this company acquired the asset, means new company acquired the depreciable asset from the old company. Now in hands of the old company, the WDV was 100 lakh only. In hands of the old company, that WDV was 100 lakh only. In hands of the old company, that WDV was 100 lakh. But they acquired at 150 lakh under the consideration under amalgamation. And guys, they calculated depreciation on 150 lakh. If you remember the PGBP, then you know that in PGBP, there was one funda or concept was related to the actual cost. And what we have discussed in the actual cost, if you remember, then you know that in the actual cost, I have mentioned that in case of the actual cost, what will be your actual cost? Like we have discussed various explanation, and in explanation there was explanation number 6 and explanation number 6 after that explanation number 7, after that explanation number 7a, and there we have discussed that whenever there is an amalgamation or there is a demerger or there is a holding to subsidiary to holding, then your actual cost of the block will be whatever WDV of the predecessor. Means whatever WDV of the predecessor, now that will be your actual cost. On that only depreciation will be allowed, because amalgamation was the tax free now. So whatever WDV of the predecessor, that will be your actual cost. So here guys, in this particular example, WDV of predecessor was 100 lakh. WDV of predecessor was 100 lakh. And guys, WDV, they acquired at 150 lakh. So here depreciation should be allowed on the 100 lakh only now. But they calculated depreciation on 150 lakh. So we will recompute that. So in simple word, their PGBP income is suppose 140 lakh. So guys, 140 lakh, but they claim the depreciation on 150 lakh. They are allowed depreciation on only 100 lakh. So can I say that 50 on 50 lakh, whatever depreciation they have claimed, we will add back that. So guys, on the 50, they claim the depreciation at the rate 15%. So here 7.5%. So can I say that their PGBP income will be, means new company PGBP income is 147.5. New company PGBP income is 147.5. Now guys, above profit of XYZ Limited include the speculative profit also of the 10 lakh. There is no problem at all. Speculative profit is there. Guys, that old company speculative losses are not allowed to be set up, but new company is having a speculative profit, no issue. And against speculative profit, guys, normal business losses can be set up. Because speculative business losses are not allowed to be set off against the normal business profit, but normal business losses are allowed to be set off against the speculative business profit. Compute the total income of XYZ Limited for the assessment year 24-25 and indicate the losses or other allowance to be carried forward by it. So guys, in the simple word, can I say that your profit will be the 147.5, and after that you will set off this losses of 18 lakh, unabsorbed depreciation 2 lakh and 120 lakh. Obviously, first you will set off the brought forward business loss. After that, you will take the unabsorbed depreciation, because unabsorbed depreciation can be carried forward for the unlimited years. Now, so just check the solution of this question, and if you are having any doubt, then you can ask me. Just check that. I am going to give you some time. Just read the notes also. Huh? Done, people? Done? Okay. Now there is a one question, that is question number 3. Just check the question number 3. What question number 3 says? Question number 3. Question number 3 says that a private limited company has a share capital in the form of equity share capital. So private limited company, closely held company, share capital in the form of the equity shareholding only. The share were held up till 31st March 2022 by the 4 shareholder ABCD equally. So guys, till 31st March 2022, it was held by the ABCD equally. So ABCD equally means till 31st March 2022, it was held by the ABCD equally, means 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. The company made the losses or profit for the past 3 assessment year is as follows. Guys, there was an unabsorbed depreciation of this year 15 lakh. There was a this is the assessment year. So assessment year means I can say that previous year 1920. Here this is the previous year 2021, and here there is a previous year 2122. So this is assessment year is given. So I just have written the previous year. Guys, this depreciation, that can be set up and carry forward. There is no need of that 51% concept. But guys, for the here, we should here, like for the business losses, yes, there is a condition of the 51% equity shareholding should be by the same person. Now what happened? The above figure have been accepted by the tax department. During the previous year ended 31st March 2023, that is the last year, A sold his shares to the Y, and during the previous year ended 31st March 2024, B sold his shares to the Z. The profit for the past two previous year are as follows. Now guys, here what happened? Here this is the 31st March 2022, this is the 31st March 2023, this is the 31st March 2024. Now in the last year there was a profit of the 18 lakh before charging depreciation of 9 lakh, and current year there is a profit 45 lakh before charging depreciation of 7 lakh 50,000. Compute the taxable income of the current year. Now guys, try to understand. First we will calculate for the last year. So can I say that last year that is 31st March 2023. So 31st March 2023, your income was 18 lakh before charging the depreciation of 9 lakh. So first you will charge the depreciation. So can I say that your remaining PGBP income of last year was 9 lakh? Remaining PGBP income of the last year 31st March 2023 was 9 lakh. So against 9 lakh, this was the previous year 22-23. So this is for previous year 22-23. Now guys, in the previous year 21-22, there was a loss of the 9 lakh. So question is that this business losses can be set up here or not? Right answer is we have to check that. Okay, on the 31st March 2022 and on the 31st March 2023, is 51% equity share were held by the same person or not? So guys, in the last year what happened? Only that one person, that is the A, sold his shares to the Y. So on the 31st March 2022, your share were held by the ABCD, but here A sold the shares to the Y. So guys, can I say that still then also 75% are shareholded by the same person? In this 2 year, on the last date of the 31st March 2022 and 31st March 2023, in the both the year, guys, at least 51% share are held by same person. Here 75% share were held by the same person. So here when 75% share were held by the same person, so can I say that brought forward losses can be set up and carry forward? It means this 9 lakh losses is allowed to be set up in this year. Yes, it is allowed. Answer is yes, it is allowed. And last year now income is nil. Now we will talk about the current year. So in the current year, there is a 45 lakh rupees income, and in 45 lakh rupees income, there is a 7 lakh 50,000 is a 7 lakh 50,000 depreciation. First we will reduce, and against remaining income, we will carry forward the brought forward unabsorbed depreciation. So whatever the unabsorbed depreciation of all this 3 year, then that we can set up, no problem at all, because for unabsorbed depreciation, there is no condition of 51%. You got my point or not? Yes, just check the solution of this particular question. Just check the solution of this question. Just check the solution of this question. Done, people? Yes. Now, guys, try to understand. Sir, normally the losses of the one person can be set up and carry forward by that person only. But there were certain exceptional cases that we have already discussed. That cases was amalgamation, demerger, and succession. Succession means proprietor to company, company to partnership, like partnership firm to the company, or small company to LLP. Now, guys, there is one more exception. You know that like in the partnership firm, when we have discussed that suppose a partnership firm, there is a change in constitution. Then guys, if any partner is retired or there is a death of any partner, then losses of that partner will not be allowed to be set up and carry forward by the partnership firm. That was one section 78 we have discussed already under the partnership firm topic. Now, here question is that, yes, sir, one person losses is not allowed to be set up and carry forward by the other person. But guys, there is a one more exception here. Suppose if there is a inheritance of the business due to the death of the assessee, means there is an inheritance due to the death, then losses of the predecessor is allowed to be set up by the successor. Means example is, for an example, one father is died and father was doing some business and that business is inherited to the son. Business is due to the death, it is inherited to son, then son can carry forward the losses. Son is allowed to carry forward the losses. There is no issue at all. So there is an inheritance due to the death of the person, then losses is allowed to be set up and carry forward. Now guys, there is a question number 1. What happened in the question number 1? Suppose one sole proprietor businessman was died. X carrying on the business as a sole proprietor. He was died on 31st March 2024. And on his death, the same business was continued by the legal heir. But legal heir forming the firm, means legal heir form the firm, partnership firm, and they continue the same business. As on 31st March 2024, a determined business loss of the 5 lakh to be carried forward under the Income Tax Act 1961. Does the firm consisting of all legal heir of Mr. X get a right to have this losses adjust against its current year income or not? So what happened? Like that person was the proprietary business. Now he died, and after the died, legal heir did the business, but that is in the partnership firm. They did constitute the partnership firm, all the legal here. Question is that partnership firm is allowed to be set up and carry forward that losses or not? Answer is yes. Guys, there is a one case law of the Madhukant M. Mehta Supreme Court judgment, and Supreme Court judgment says that even they constituted as the partnership firm, then also that partnership firm is allowed to set up and carry forward that losses of the predecessor. So here, section 78(2) first says that where a person carrying on any business or profession has been succeeded in such capacity by another person, otherwise than by way of inheritance, then the successor is not entitled to carry forward and set up of the losses. Now, this implies that generally set up of losses should be claimed by the same person who suffered the loss. And the only exception of this provision is when the business pass on to the another person by way of the inheritance. Now, this fact of the given case in question are similar to the Madhukant and Mehta 2001 Supreme Court judgment held that if the business is succeeded by inheritance, the legal heir are entitled to benefit of carry forward of losses of predecessor even if the legal heir constitute themselves as a partnership firm. The benefit of carry forward and set up of losses of the predecessor would available to the firm. Now, in this case, the business of the acts was continued by the legal heir after the death of the constituting firm. After the death by the constituting firm, hence the exception contained in 78(2) along with the decision of Supreme Court discussed above would apply in this case. Therefore, firm is entitled to carry forward the business losses of 5 lakh of the Mr. X. Done. So this is the completion of your all question. Question number 10. Now you can do that. No issue. You will able to understand. Guys, here what happened? We were discussing about the set up and carry forward. In the set up and carry forward, there is a one case law. We'll do that case law first. Guys, there is a one case law, that is the Pramod Mittal. Now what happened? There was a partnership firm. And suppose partnership firm got dissolved. And partnership firm got dissolved. One partner is doing the business. Question is that when partnership firm was there, partnership firm got dissolved, partner is doing the business. Question is that can partner set off the losses incurred by partnership firm or not? Answer is no. Because partnership firm was a partnership firm, na? That was a firm. So firm incurred any losses that is not allowed to be set up and carry forward to the partner. Because partner and partnership firm both are separate here. And this is not an inheritance case. If there is an inheritance case due to the death of the any person, then that losses can be set up and carry forward, like we did that question number 1. But here guys, in the Pramod Mittal case law, Delhi High Court says that this is not an inheritance by way of the death. Na? So here what happened? Try to understand. Pramod Mittal 2013 Delhi High Court. Can the loss suffered by firm which was dissolved be carried forward and set up by the individual partner who took over the business of the firm as a sole proprietor, considering the succession as a succession by the inheritance? So here High Court observed that firm and proprietorship are two separate and distinct units for the purpose of assessment. 78.2 deal with the carry forward of losses in case of succession of the business. Now it provides that only the person who has incurred the losses can be set up and carry forward the losses. An exception provided in case of succession by only inheritance. The exception is not applicable in the present case since the partnership firm was dissolved and ceased to be continued. Taking over the business by partner cannot be considered as a case of inheritance due to the death as per the law of the succession. The loss suffered by firm before dissolution of the firm cannot be carried forward by the successor sole proprietor. So this is one concept. Now guys, try to understand. Whenever you trade in the stock and commodity now, then it will be treated as normal business loss or a speculative business loss or a capital gain. So try to understand, if transaction of shares where delivery is affected means suppose you taking the delivery. I purchased some share yesterday, I took the delivery. So if there is a delivery now, and if there is a PGBP, like PG, it will be taxable under the PGBP if the share held as a stock in trade, and it will be taxable under capital gain if share are held as capital asset. So guys, if I am taking the delivery of the shares, then guys, it will be under the head PGBP if shares are held as a stock in trade. Otherwise, it is capital asset, then capital gain. Now, if I am doing the intraday means there is no delivery. Means morning I just purchased the share, till evening I square off. That is called intraday. So intraday is always treated as a speculative business. But guys, suppose if I am doing the derivatives means future options or currency future at a recognized stock exchange. If I am doing the derivatives now, the derivatives loss will be treated as always normal business loss. It will not be treated as your speculative business loss. This point we already discussed under under PGBP topic. So in PGBP topic, we already discussed that, okay guys, if there is a derivative that is future or option, etc., or currency future at a recognized stock exchange, always normal business income. You got my point or not? Yes. Now next part is related to the, guys, here some point is given related to set up and carry forward in case of the amalgamation and demerger. Guys, just we have discussed that in case of amalgamation, that old company losses can be carry forward and set up by new company, but there are certain restrictions. It is not allowed to the every type of the amalgamation. There are lots of conditions related to that. Now this condition part is not relevant for the examination perspective. Whatever we have discussed till now, that was relevant for the examination, but this condition part is not more relevant for the examination point of view, but still it is given in the ICI material, so I have considered here. Pay attention. Carry forward and set up of losses in case of amalgamation. First, there is applicability. So section 72 apply where there has been amalgamation, but amalgamation of which company? So amalgamation of company owning an industrial undertaking or a ship or hotel with the another company. So if there is an amalgamation of any company owning an industrial undertaking or a ship or a hotel with the another company, then it will be treated as amalgamation. So amalgamation means only a company which was having the industrial undertaking or a ship or a hotel, and that company is merged with the another company, then only it will be treated as amalgamation. But question is that, sir, what do you mean by industrial undertaking? So industrial undertaking is definition is given on this page, that is I think next to next page. And industrial undertaking means, it means any undertaking which is engaged in the manufacturing or processing of the goods. So if any undertaking which is engaged in the manufacturing or processing of the goods, that is known as the industrial undertaking, or manufacture of the computer software, or generation or distribution of electricity or any form of the power. So either it is a manufacturing company or a computer software manufacturing company or a electricity company, or providing telecommunication service, whether basic or cellular service, including radio paging, domestic satellite service, network of trunking or broadband network or internet service. So any telecommunication service, like example, you know that Vodafone Idea merged and they made it VI. So that was a valid amalgamation. And if that company was engaged in the mining business or construction of the ship or aircraft or rail system, that is known as the industrial undertaking. So if any industrial undertaking merge with any company, then it will be treated as amalgamation. Now guys, here either amalgamation of industrial undertaking or a ship or hotel with the another company, then it will be treated as amalgamation. Second is amalgamation of banking company with the specified bank. Banking company with the specified bank, just as like understand, you know that earlier there was a State Bank of the Travancore also there. State Bank of Bikaner and Jaipur was there. They've merged with the State Bank of India. So that is called your banking company with the specified bank. Then this is treated as amalgamation. Now, one or more public sector company or companies with one or more public sector companies or companies. Suppose if there is an amalgamation of public sector company, then it will be treated as amalgamation. Public sector company means, for an example, Indian Oil Corporation and Bharat Petroleum. Both are owned by the government. Public sector company, suppose both merge and they made it Bharat Petroleum. Then it is called amalgamation of the public sector company. Or guys, suppose if there is an amalgamation and erstwhile public sector company means public sector company which with one or more company or companies, if the share purchase agreement entered into under the strategic disinvestment restrict immediate amalgamation of that public sector company, and the amalgamation is carried out within the 5 years from the end of the previous year in which the restriction on the amalgamation of the share purchase agreement end. Now guys, suppose for an example, if there was a public sector company, example is Air India. So Air India will amalgamate in future with the company called Telens. Telens is a Tata Group company. Now still that is Air India, but Air India share was purchased by the under purchase agreement. Suppose that share were already purchased by the Tata Group, but still Air India is not amalgamated with the Telens. It is like just share is purchased. There is a share purchase agreement, share is purchased. But guys, in future there will be amalgamation. Means when your share purchase agreement end, because like many times what happen, amalgamation not happen suddenly. Means amalgamation will take the time. They are saying that now just like Tata is acquired the Air India, but amalgamation still Air India Limited is there. Air India Limited will be amalgamated in future with the Tata Group. In future, Air India will be amalgamated with the Tata Group, but still amalgamation not took place. So here they are saying that suppose there was a public sector company with one or more companies, that company is merged. And if the share purchase agreement entered into under strategic disinvestment restrict immediate amalgamation, they are saying that immediate there will not be amalgamation and of that public sector company, and the amalgamation is carried out within the 5 years from the end of the previous year in which restriction on amalgamation of in the share purchase agreement end. So here some notes are given. The losses and unabsorbed depreciation of amalgamating company in case of amalgamation referred in point number 4, which is deemed to be the losses and unabsorbed depreciation of amalgamated company shall not be more than the losses and unabsorbed depreciation of public sector company as on the date on which public sector company ceased to be the public sector company as a result of strategic disinvestment. Now what is the meaning of, I took one example, from example you will able to understand. Strategic disinvestment means sale of shareholding by central government or state government in the public sector company which result in reduction of shareholding to below 51% along with the transfer of control to the buyer. So that is called strategic disinvestment, means when government is reducing their shareholding below 51%, that is called strategic disinvestment. Suppose there is one example, try to understand. Suppose shares of Air India Limited purchased by the Telens Private Limited, this is the Tata Group company, in the previous year 21-22. Share was purchased, but still Air India is not amalgamated with that company. Only share is purchased under the share purchase agreement. And suppose as per share purchase agreement, it is mentioned that public sector company cannot amalgamate till 31st March 2024. Means here guys, they purchased the share of Air India in 21-22. So Air India became the subsidiary of Tata Group. But this is not amalgamated till now. That is not amalgamated till now. Suppose that amalgamation will be took place after 31st March 2024. They clearly mentioned in the share purchase agreement. And suppose amalgamation took place in the previous year 26-27. In 26-27, suppose that company is merged with the Telens company, means amalgamated with the Telens company. Then in this case, whatever losses and unabsorbed depreciation of Air India Limited as on 31st March 2024, means date on which that share purchase agreement end. that will be treated as losses and unabsorbed depreciation of Talents Private Limited for the previous year 26-27, and it will be allowed to the Talents Private Limited to the carry forward and set off of the losses. You got my point or not? Yes. So what this basically point is says that not able to like remember for the examination perspective, but what they are saying that because suppose any public sector company was there. Now public sector company share were purchased by the another company, like, and guys, they will amalgamate in future, but there is no amalgamation. So they are saying that case suppose if there is a share purchase agreement and that restrict the amalgamation till such date, and after that within 5 years there will be amalgamation, then losses can be carry forward and set up by the new company. But whenever that share purchase agreement condition is you can say that condition is till 31st March 2024. So whatever loss on 31st March 2024, that losses will be allowed and set up to the Talents Private Limited. Okay. So here some more condition by the amalgamating company, that is the old company. So guys, in case of amalgamation, there are certain conditions that will be followed by the old company. Now, what are these conditions? First condition is amalgamating company should have been engaged in the business for at least 3 years prior to the date of amalgamation. Suppose amalgamation took place on 1st July 2023, then amalgamating company should have started the business before 1st July 2020, means at least 3 years that amalgamating company was doing that business. Now, amalgamating company should hold at least 75% of book value of fixed asset, which held 2 years prior to date of amalgamation, means whatever the amalgamating company book value of the asset were held earlier 2 years ago, that at least 75% of book value of fixed asset are held on the date of amalgamation by amalgamating company. Now there are certain conditions which will be followed by the amalgamated company, new company. First condition is amalgamation should be continue. The business of the amalgamating company, means new company should continue the business of old company for a period of 5 years from the date of amalgamation. So from the date of amalgamation, for the next 5 years, that business should be continue. Next is amalgamated company should fulfill the prescribed condition in case there is an amalgamation of industrial undertaking. So guys, if there is an amalgamation of industrial undertaking, then there are certain additional conditions that they have to fulfill. Now what are that additional condition? First is the amalgamated company shall achieve the level of production of at least 50% of installed capacity before the end of the 4 year from the date of amalgamation. Means from the date of amalgamation, within the 4 year, at least they should achieve the production capacity at least 50% of the installed capacity. And guys, continue to maintain that minimum level of 50% till the end of the 5th year from the date of amalgamation. Means within the 4 year, they should achieve at least 50% of production capacity, and that should be held till end of the 5th year. However, central government on the application made by amalgamated company may relax the condition of achieving the level of production or period during which same is to be achieved, or both is suitable cases. So guys, here they may relax this condition of the production capacity. Relaxation of condition is possible. Now next part, amalgamated company hold continue for a minimum period of 5 years from the date of amalgamation at least 75% of book value of fixed asset of amalgamating company acquired under the scheme of amalgamation. So whatever book value of asset acquired under the amalgamation, at least 75% of book value of asset should be held for the next 5 years. Should be held for at least next 5 years. If all the above conditions are fulfilled, then accumulated losses or unabsorbed depreciation shall be deemed to be the amalgamated company in the previous year in which amalgamation was took place. And guys, it can be carried forward for the fresh 8 years period. Now, in any year, if there is a violation, then guys, whatever the losses and unabsorbed depreciation they already set up, that will be treated as the income. Like if we took one example in our compiler. So when we were doing this example number 2. So guys, you know that earlier companies, that losses and unabsorbed depreciation, here it is set up like 120, 18 to total 140 set up. Now 140 set up, but suppose that any condition is violated, because for next 5 years they should follow, they should continue that business, they should like achieve that production capacity. After that they should hold the book at least 75% of book value of asset for the next 5 years. Guys, any condition is violated, then this losses are already set up. What will happen? So in the year of violation, again it will be treated as business income. In the year of violation, again it will be treated as your business income. So this is the completion of your topic, set up and carry forward of the losses. So this is your topic, set up and carry forward of the losses. You got my point or not? Yes. So just आप लोगों को ये complete किया topic. Now we will take the 10 minutes break, and after 10 minutes we will start with the another topic. Okay. So just have your 10 minutes break, and after 10 minutes we will start with the another topic.